Hi, I'm Dorian Collins, a Senior Planner with the Kirkland Planning Department. This video will cover potential zoning changes being studied this spring for the Kingsgate Park and Ride property. People are becoming increasingly interested in living near transit. Long commute times, reductions in driving among young adults, and demographic changes resulting in smaller households all affect the desire to choose denser, walkable communities closer to transit. Development around transit can benefit the environment and community by reducing the need to drive to home or work and creating the opportunity for a high quality of life without a car. This spring, the Kirkland Planning Commission will be developing changes to the Kirkland zoning code that will allow and encourage transit-oriented development to occur at the Kingsgate Park and Ride. The project is timely due to the activities of our partners related to the Kingsgate site. The Washington Department of Transportation is exploring opportunities for a transit-oriented development pilot project at the Kingsgate Park and Ride, which is owned by WashDOT. Sound Transit's new bus rapid transit station will also be coming to the area in 2024. Changes to Kirkland's regulations are needed now to allow future development to occur in a similar time frame. This video will explain what transit-oriented development, or TOD, is and explain why the Kingsgate Park and Ride is a good candidate for it. It will also describe the types of changes that are needed to enable and encourage TOD to happen at the site. Finally, we will talk about how you can provide input into the zoning code amendment process. While the decision to support TOD at the Kingsgate Park and Ride has already been made through the City Council's adoption of land use policies for the site, we need your ideas to help shape future development to be an asset to the Totem Lake Business District and the broader Kirkland community. The term transit-oriented development, or TOD, refers to a walkable community that is designed to encourage transit use and pedestrian activity. This type of development brings potential riders closer to transit and results in less dependency on cars. TOD may include multifamily residential and transit uses. TOD can also include a variety of uses on site, such as shops, offices, restaurants, hotels, and schools. Or TOD can be located within a neighborhood with lots of goods and services already nearby. Residents living near transit and with access to strong pedestrian and bicycle connections to shops and services have choices in how to commute to work, run errands, and meet their basic needs without needing to use a car, and they may be able to live without owning a car at all. One recent example of a transit-oriented development in the city of Kirkland is the development at the South Kirkland Park and Ride. That project was completed in 2014 and included expanding the park and ride capacity to include an additional 250 stalls and the creation of 243 residential units. About a quarter of the new housing units were affordable to low-income households. People living at the South Kirkland Park and Ride can now hop on a bus and be at the University of Washington in about 15 minutes. Residents also have lots of options for biking to downtown and other parts of Kirkland, along Lake Washington Boulevard, or catching the Cross Kirkland Corridor Trail up the hill. Next, we'll talk about why the Kingsgate Park and Ride is a good candidate for transit-oriented development. The Kingsgate Park and Ride is an excellent location for TOD for three key reasons. First, in 2015, the Kirkland City Council adopted policies supporting TOD at the site. Then in 2018, the City Council adopted specific objectives for TOD there. The site lies within the Totem Lake Urban Center, which is a designation within the region for areas intended to provide for dense and walkable communities where housing, employment, shopping, and other activities are close together in proximity to transit. Second, Sound Transit's Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT, includes a new station at Totem Lake very close to the Kingsgate site. To increase ridership of this new system, Sound Transit plans to add 400 new stalls to the Park and Ride, with 600 of the total stalls on site located in a new parking garage. Third, the Washington Department of Transportation owns the site and has been directed by the legislature to investigate the opportunity for a TOD pilot project at the Kingsgate site. What are the next steps in TOD coming to the Kingsgate Park and Ride? How can changes to zoning regulations be designed to meet the needs of all of the project partners while also ensuring the project will be an attractive and helpful addition to the community? As the Planning Commission moves forward with the study of changes to the zoning regulations that govern development at the Kingsgate site, public comments are encouraged. The first study session is planned for May 9th. Several key standards will be revised through the amendments. These include the maximum building height for development at the site. The current limit is 30 feet, or about 2 to 3 stories. In order to develop mixed-use or even single-use multifamily residential development, the height limit would need to be increased to allow at least 5 or 6 stories. The range of permitted uses on site would also need to be expanded, for example, to allow for residential use over retail or restaurant uses. Additional uses that may be considered within TOD could include hotels and assisted living facilities. Development standards will also need to be revised to require that new development provides affordable housing. The specific percentage of affordable units will need to be determined. Design standards for future development will be important to make the Kingsgate Park and Ride function not only as a thriving transit station, but also as an attractive community within the neighborhood. New design regulations will address both the buildings and the property, covering things like setbacks for buildings from property lines, techniques to break up building mass and vary the appearance of long or tall areas of buildings, retention of the existing tall trees and new landscaping around the perimeter of the site, and requirements for public open spaces for residents and visitors to the site. Design of the edges of the site will also be important to ensure compatibility with nearby uses. Access points for pedestrians to and through the site and directing lighting away from neighboring residential areas are just some of the ways design can make a difference to the community. The Sound Transit Feasibility Study evaluated several conceptual development scenarios that would accommodate the parking expansion and future TOD. First, if a 600-stall parking garage were built, about 300 stalls would remain on the surface of the park and ride, leaving about 2 acres available for transit-oriented development. Alternatively, more land will be available for TOD if WashDOT is able to finance relocating the existing surface stalls to structured parking. If all of the parking stalls were included in the garage, about 4 acres would be available for TOD. The sketch on the right shows an aerial view of how buildings might look on the site in a very general way. It shows the parking garage at the south end of the site and 2 structures between 5 and 6 stories tall, providing both market rate and affordable housing. Next, here are some ways that you can help the process by providing your thoughts and comments. The goal of these amendments to the zoning code is to allow transit-oriented development to occur at the Kingsgate Park and Ride and to ensure that it is done in a way that will be a true asset to the Kirkland community. Your input on the proposed amendments is encouraged. Please attend the upcoming meetings or provide your written comments. Please be sure to check the project webpage for updates or to contact me for more information. Thank you for being engaged in your community.